Welcome to Bangkok, a land of beauty, food, culture, and bustling streets. This is a city with some of the highest traffic fatality rates in the world. With a large percentage of motorcyclists not wearing helmets when they ride, it seems like this is a problem that could easily be fixed. So inevitably, it raises the question, why?
เพราะว่าส่วนใหญ่หนึ่งอากาศมันร้อนด้วยแล้วก็มันคล้ายๆแบบเขาเดินทางเป็นระยะใกล้เขาเลยไม่ต้องใส่ไม่ต้องอะไร
หนึ่งคิดว่าใกล้และสะดวกแบบว่าไม่ต้องพกอะไรเงี้ยแล้วบางทีร้อนแบบนึกถึงแบบง่ายสะดวกแค่ไปนิดเดียวอะไรเงี้ยแล้วก็ไม่ได้นึกถึงความปลอดภัย
Thailand has a staggering number of motorcycle accidents on the road each year. In 2023 alone, 58,000 motorcycle accidents were reported. That's around 159 people per day. And on average, 70 people a day die on the roads here in Thailand. Behind me here is one of Bangkok's busiest intersections and one notorious for people running red lights. Let me show you what I'm talking about. If you can see behind me here, all these people are about to run the next red light. I wanted to understand why it appears Thai people are reckless on motorcycles, so I took to the streets to ask people firsthand. So I noticed here in Thailand, many people don't wear helmets when they ride motorcycles. Why do you think that is?
The full answer is going to be long.
That's okay.
Because I grew up here. When I was younger, no one wear helmets. If you wear one, you are either the posh guy or you are just want to show off. That's when I was young. No one needs it. And we are third world country back then. And then when we start realizing we have more education, people give us more information about it, then people start realizing this is what we should do to reduce the death toll. That's when the helmet start introducing. Plus, that time was expensive, but this can be go back as 40 years old. Then when I grow up and people get more educated, let's say in 1998, that's when people start realizing they should wear the helmet. The government start putting lots of advertising during that time to saying put the helmet on. But the thing is, let's say at me first, I don't wear helmet for two reasons. One, I don't own the bike and I don't have one. So as soon as I get on any motorbike taxi, I just don't have one to wear. Second, if the motorbike taxi have one, I used to wear it all the time until one day I put it on, and when I took it off, I feel really itchy. It's really bad. I discussed with the helmet since then. So after that, it's rarely for me to put on the helmet from the bikers that we share. It's just really bad. That's my reason. But for Thai people, they still feel like one, it's hot, right? The helmet is hot. Second, they thought their hairstyle is gonna be bad when you put it on, right? Either the guy or the lady. And then if you are in countryside, you don't need one because they will say, oh, everyone don't wear one. I don't need one. And sometimes you might think, I don't go far. It's only 30 meters away, 300 meters away, and why would I need to put on? So that's what it is.
It's illegal to not wear a helmet when you ride, right?
It is illegal. The fine used to be 500 baht, and many people still think it's 500 baht if you don't put the helmet on, right? But in the last few years, I'm not sure exact date, it increased to 2,000 baht.
But they don't police it much, right?
No. Well, I think it's rarely police gonna fine you 2,000 unless he see you do that very often. Police might see you do that once, and he might say, oh, he looks poor, so let's say 500 still. But if you look a bit posh, maybe you pay 1,000. So he used his judgment to see what they should pay from your look as well. So if you dress really poor, maybe you say, oh, I don't really have money. I don't have money for lunch. Can I pay only 20 baht? Sometimes they do that.
Okay. Now, riding a motorcycle here without a helmet is illegal, and as I've done some research online, the severity of the penalty, there goes one just there. As I've done research online at the severity of the penalties, it appears to be at the discretion of the police officer at the time. Something I also find quite interesting is that, here goes another one. Something that I also find, and another one, and another one. So something I do find quite interesting here is there's no point system with the license. So if you're a repeat offender for any of these things, riding without a helmet, speeding, drink driving, anything, there's no harsh, serious implications such as loss of license. Now, while this is illegal, it's not something that's really policed all that much, especially here in Bangkok. In some of the tourist areas such as Pattaya, Phuket, Koh Samui, they do have police roadblocks to stop people, to check for licensing and are people wearing helmets. But as you can see, just in this little quiet back street in Bangkok, not everybody is wearing a helmet, and it's clear that you can get away with this quite easily.
ลูกกี่ขวบแล้วครับ
13
13แล้วตัวลูกรู้สึกยังไงถ้าเห็นพ่อแม่ไม่ใส่หมวกกันน็อกเลยคนอื่นไม่ใส่หมวกกันน็อกเขามีความรู้ด้านนี้ไหมว่าควรจะใส่อะไรเงี้ย
มีเขาก็คิดบอกว่าแม่ไม่ใส่เรื่องคือแบบเดี๋ยวเกิดอุบัติเหตุอะไรมากอะไรเงี้ย
กลายเป็นว่ารุ่นลูกเขารู้กว่าเราแล้วถ้าแม่ไม่ใส่ลูกบอกว่า
หมวกกันน็อกนะแม่เตือนแม่ตลอดบอกว่าหมวกกันน็อกนะแม่อย่าลืม
แล้วลูกๆเขาไปเรียนรู้จากที่ไหนเรียนดูจากทีวีหรือที่โรงเรียนมีสอนเอา YouTube เลย
นี่ก็คือเขาเห็นบางทีเขารถไปกับแม่ตอนเดิมรถชนกันอะไรอย่างเงี้ยมอไซค์ชนกับรถเก่งบ้างอะไรเงี้ยมีมอไซค์ล้มเองบ้างอะไรเงี้ยเขาไม่ได้ใส่หมวกกันน็อกก็จะเห็นอะไรเงี้ย
แล้วที่โรงเรียนมีสอน
ยังไม่
รู้นะ
ใช่ค่ะ
Joining me today is someone who has a lot of experience riding motorcycles here in Thailand, possibly more than anyone, having ridden through every single province in the country. So, Paddy, can you share with me your thoughts on what it's like riding here and the dangers of the roads for a motorcyclist?
Well, obviously, I've spent years on these roads and the dangers are many. To be honest, but I don't have any experience driving back home in the UK. I got my license here and I only have experience driving in Southeast Asia. So for me, it's quite normal to see the madness. It's only when I'm with another person who drives back home and the things they say, then I realize, oh yeah, that is crazy that we all just cut lanes and go in between cars and do all the things. I suppose with my experience, it's just about connecting with the frequency of other drivers as well. Like we all kind of are in it together. There's method in the madness. We all kind of flow between the dangers. Obviously, it's just about being aware and having your situational awareness. Having experience in Asia is key. And to be honest, staying away from driving in Bangkok, the chance of having an accident, collision, or death goes up the more you're in the thick of it out here. Once you're out in the beautiful rural roads of Thailand, the dangers are less, obviously. As a bloke drives past without a helmet, classic.
And what about you? Do you ever ride without a helmet?
Don't get me wrong, there are times I don't ride with a helmet. You know, if I'm just, let's say I'm on a desert island like Koh Samui or Koh Phangan and I'm going to 7-Eleven to get some beers, or I need to nip to get a noodle and I'm only going a few hundred meters, the helmet can be a hassle, an extra thing to think about. I'm not going to be going fast. Sometimes I don't always wear a helmet. Obviously long distances, obviously if I'm on film, helmet on every single day, every single moment. But as you know, Thai people don't always wear their helmet, so that social acceptance in Thailand makes it a little bit easier just to be like, okay, I don't need to wear it if I'm just popping to the shop. I mean, you see it here, right? You see it here, and when you're going long distances, the big bikes, the serious bikers, they're Thai or foreign, they will obviously have all the gear on, but your typical Thai person doesn't always wear their helmet, and that's for loads of different reasons. Some people can't actually afford a decent helmet, so they don't bother with it in the first place. It's also more socially acceptable to not wear a helmet in Thailand, so you get teased. Some people get teased for having a helmet. And also the lack of enforcement, right? They see people without a helmet, then always pull them over, right? It's not always enforced or hardly ever enforced. So we've got that social constraint, that economic factor, and the lack of enforcement. Not wearing a helmet, you just blend in, right?
The Ministry of Interior has opened the Songkran Period Road Accidents Prevention and Reduction Center, setting a target of reducing the number of fatalities, accidents, and injuries by no less than 5% from the previous year.
The cabinet has acknowledged a plan to prevent and reduce road accidents during the Songkran holiday.
The Songkran death toll has increased to almost 200 lives.
Every year, Thailand celebrates Songkran, the New Year festival, which involves a lot of fun, water fights, and alcohol. This is Thailand's deadliest time on the roads. During the 3-day holiday period, nearly 300 people died on the roads here in Thailand, and there was an additional 2,000 reported injuries. And out of this, 85% of those accidents were all motorcycles, with the leading cause being no helmet, but also 30% of those people were actually reported as being intoxicated.
And what is that? It's my head out. Speak English.
Okay.
And I actually say with the whole crew, I want the most handsome guy. He said, it's me.
สวัสดีครับ
I like this. พี่คิดว่าทำไมคนไทยส่วนใหญ่ไม่ค่อยใส่หมวกกันน็อก
โอเคเพราะว่าส่วนใหญ่หนึ่งอากาศมันร้อนด้วยแล้วก็มันคล้ายๆแบบเขาเดินทางเป็นระยะใกล้เขาเลยไม่ต้องใส่ไม่ต้องอะไร
มีลูกค้าเยอะไหมที่พี่ให้หมวกกันน็อกเขาไม่ใส่
อ๋อมันก็มีบ้างเพราะว่าเหมือนกับที่ผมตอบข้อแรกไปเลยเพราะว่าเขาไปใกล้ๆเดินทางไปแค่ใกล้ๆเขาเลยไม่อยากใส่บางคนก็กลัวผมเสียอะไรต่ออะไรและสิ่งสำคัญเลยประเทศไทยมันร้อนเขาเลยไม่ค่อยอยากใส่แล้วหมวกกันน็อกมองว่าไม่ค่อยสะอาดด้วย
พี่เคยขี่พาไปแล้วตำรวจเบรกไหมว่าคนซ้อนไม่ใส่หมวก
เคยครับ
แล้วพี่โดนหรือเขาโดน
ทางผมโดนใช่ทางผมโดนเขาก็ปรับตามธรรมเนียมตามพรบไปเลยส่วนใหญ่ตำรวจเขาจะตักเตือนเพราะว่าเราบอกว่าพี่ผู้หญิงเข้าไปใกล้ๆพี่เขาขอไม่ใส่ครับ
แต่เขาไม่อยากปรับเรา
ใช่เขาก็สงสาร
เพราะคนซ้อนไม่ใส่
ใช่ครับ
โอเค
แต่ถ้าเราขี่แล้วเราไม่ใส่อันนั้นโดนแน่
พี่คิดว่าถ้าพี่มีอำนาจพอพี่จะทำไงให้มันดีขึ้น
ก็สื่อโฆษณาเยอะๆตามสถานที่ต่างๆเขาก็แจกหมวกกันน็อกเนี่ยแจกให้ผู้โดยสารข้างหลังเขาขึ้นมีแบบมาแจกตามบินอะไรเปลี่ยนไปเรื่อยๆเพราะว่าของเราถ้าลงทุนมันก็หลายอย่างบางคนมันเราลงทุนไปคนนี้ไม่ชอบแบบนี้คนนี้ไม่ชอบแบบนี้ดูไม่สะอาดดูไม่เรียบร้อยแต่ถ้ามีแบบมันมีตามที่นะที่ว่าเขาแจกมาแต่เขาแจกสำหรับเด็กแต่สำหรับผู้ใหญ่ไม่ได้แจก
ฉะนั้นก็โฆษณาให้เยอะขึ้น
ใช่โฆษณาให้เยอะขึ้นแล้วก็ช่วยกันใช่ครับใช่
ขอบคุณมากครับ
ขอบคุณครับ
Thank you so much. When speaking to the locals to find out why many people don't wear helmets on motorcycles, something that came up often was the cost. So I set out to get a better understanding of exactly what a helmet costs here in Thailand. So right now I am heading to a Lotus supermarket, which is like a Walmart or a Kmart. And I wanted to get an idea of if they sell cheap helmets. Obviously there's motorcycle stores here that sell all premium high-end brands, but I wanted to see if there was a more affordable option. Alright, so they do have helmets here. This one is 350 baht, which is just under $10. I mean, it feels kind of plasticky, but it's still a helmet. I can see there's a few different options here. These ones are a little more expensive. Oh, these ones have a visor. These ones are 399 baht. Actually, this feels a little bit more higher quality. And it's got a protective visor too, which is good. These are cheap. Taking a look down here, they have kids ones, and these are 399 baht, which is good. We need more kids wearing them. Often you see the parents will be wearing a helmet and the kids aren't wearing a helmet, or none of them are wearing helmets. But this is 399 baht. It's got a little visor, and it looks cool. Okay, and down the expensive end, we've got proper full face helmets with a visor. This one was 590 baht. It's heavy. It feels much better, like a much higher quality than the other ones. And then if you want something super cool, we've got ones that actually look really good. This one is 950 baht, and this is quite good. It's a brand, right? It's a Index, which looks like a copy of the Shui logo. But the helmet itself feels good. It has a safety rating on it. I'm not sure how to read that, but there is a safety rating on it. 950 baht. Now these are supermarket helmets. Obviously they're not going to be of the highest quality, but it's an affordable option. They're set at a price point to make it affordable for people. There's also proper motorcycle stores here all over the country that have premium high-end brands and all the proper safety equipment from all the same companies and brands that we know from back home in the West. So there you go, this is really interesting. I mean, you can come down to a supermarket and pick up a helmet for $10, which is great. I mean, it's not the highest quality helmet, obviously, but for 10 bucks, I mean, hey, it's better than smashing your head into the pavement. Now, a lot of these motorcycle safety and road safety issues stem from a lack of education about the subject. What's interesting to me is that growing up in Australia, we were hammered with information from a very young age. You don't get on a bicycle without a helmet. You wouldn't dream of riding a motorcycle without a helmet. Car safety around seatbelts was something taken very seriously. We had quite graphic commercials on TV. I remember them from being a young kid, these graphic commercials on TV that would deter you from ever wanting to get on a bike without a helmet or getting into a car without a seatbelt on. It seems like there is a real lack of understanding of the severities of all that here, and it's funny that when I talk to people, I get this feeling from them that they're confused of why I'm making such a big deal out of this topic. And I do think it all just comes down to this lack of education that's hammered into us in the West from a very young age.
Thursday afternoon in a 60 zone. This 34-year-old motorcyclist was on his way home. It's our job to work out why he never got there. The rider broke his neck on impact here, having crashed into this car that was turning right. By analysing the impact, we know he hit the car at 30 kilometres per hour. And these marks on the road tell us that he skidded for 21 metres, having braked hard here. When he first reacted, he was doing 68. But let's change one small thing. At 60, the driver would have had more chance to see him properly. He'd have stayed in control and reached this point a moment later. The car would have cleared his path and he'd be home by now. You decide on your speed. The physics decides whether you live or die.
Is there much education for the dangers of the roads here in Thailand and the implications of riding without a helmet?
Oh, they do that on the advertising, but you know, Thai advertising with the visual is always the funny part. I think one thing with the advertising, I don't know about the law, how they control it. I see many of the advertising from other countries, which has a really strong visual. When you crash into someone and you feel really sad about it, and that feeling, it passes on, right, in other countries. But in Thailand, most of the time I see it's a bit funny stuff. So it is serious, but the advertising campaign is funny because they don't want people to be too serious. No, they don't want people to feel too bad about it. I think that's what happened in Thailand.
In school, you learn about these things.
Not my time. I'm not gonna tell my age. I'm not young, but during my time at school, that's not. Right now, I'm not sure. I think we should ask someone that they might know. But again, on the advertising campaign right now, I don't see many. Maybe once a year.
Once a year.
Maybe, I'm not sure. That's what I see, once a year.
Okay. So you don't see on TV every day.
Nah.
So what's the solution? I don't know. I don't think there is an immediate solution. I think it's just going to take time. I think it's going to need to be a culture shift that makes this happen. I think education into the younger generation is probably the best bet, because the older people that have never worn a helmet ever in their lives, they're not going to suddenly start just because of commercials on TV or anything like that. But if it's drilled into these kids from a young age, hopefully there can be a culture shift and it becomes the norm to wear a helmet on a motorcycle. Policing it is challenging in that there's just so many people riding without helmets. You know, a large percentage of the population that ride don't wear a helmet on a motorcycle. So it's not like you can just pluck random people out of traffic. You'd be literally pulling over a large percentage of everyone on motorcycles. I have a creative solution, and this may be completely unrealistic, but my creative solution is anywhere that you set up a roadblock to pull over people that aren't wearing a helmet on a motorcycle, you have helmets there that you can give them, and you give the people an option when they get pulled over. Instead of paying the fine, buy one of these motorcycle helmets, and it can just be a cheap helmet, but it is a step in the right direction. So the people have an option: pay the fine or buy the helmet, essentially, and your name goes on a database. And the first time you get to buy a helmet, the second time if you get pulled over after that, then the penalties are quite harsh, and that would hopefully really encourage people, one, to buy helmets, and two, to not ride without them. This is, as I said, probably completely unrealistic, but just I hope something happens and there is change, because the numbers of the accidents and everything happening here on the roads in Thailand is just, it's devastating.